There is a kind of confidence that looks exactly like the real thing. It speaks well. It carries itself well. It has never given anyone a reason to doubt it. And it has never been tested. The Stoics were not impressed by it. Not because they were cynical about people, but because they understood something precise about how character actually works. You do not know what you are made of until conditions make that question unavoidable. Seneca wrote that fire tests gold, and adversity tests men. He did not mean this as a motivational phrase. He meant it as a literal description of how character is revealed. Gold that has not been through fire may look pure. You simply do not know yet. A man who has not been through genuine difficulty may seem solid. The information is just not available. This is not a judgment. It is a gap in the data. Epictetus understood this from a position most men will never occupy. He was born a slave. Everything he built under conditions that offered him nothing. He taught that the man who has only ever operated in favorable conditions has a version of himself he has never met. And that version, when it finally appears, is often a stranger. That stranger is not always weaker than expected. Sometimes pressure reveals more than a man thought he had. But it always reveals something true. And until that moment, everything is speculation. Think about the men you have trusted most in your life. Not the ones who seemed trustworthy in easy circumstances. The ones who proved it when circumstances made being trustworthy costly. When honesty required them to lose something. When loyalty required them to stand somewhere uncomfortable. When courage was not the celebrated option but the quietly necessary one. Those men are rare. Not because most men lack the capacity. But because most men never face conditions that force the capacity to surface. Modern life is extraordinarily good at insulating people from that kind of pressure. And that insulation is comfortable. It is also a problem. Because a man who has never been truly tested does not know where his edges are. He does not know what he will do when something he loves is genuinely threatened. He does not know how he responds when there is no comfortable exit. That uncertainty lives in him whether he acknowledges it or not. Marcus Aurelius faced war, plague, betrayal, and the death of children. He did not seek suffering. But he also did not spend his life arranging things so that suffering could never reach him. He wrote that a man should be prepared for difficulty not by imagining it abstractly, but by building himself into someone capable of meeting it. That building requires contact with real resistance. Not performed hardship. Not chosen inconvenience for its own sake. Real stakes. Real consequences. Real moments where the easier path was available and you chose the harder one anyway. Every time a man does that, something consolidates in him. A layer of self-knowledge that cannot be acquired any other way. He knows, now, that he can hold a position under pressure. He knows that his values are not just ideas he agrees with in comfortable conversations. They are things he is actually paid for. That knowledge changes how he moves. It makes him quieter in situations that would rattle an untested man. It makes him less impressed by threats and less dependent on reassurance. Not because he is fearless. But because he has already met fear in a real form and found out what he does with it. The untested man has a different relationship with difficulty. He tends to avoid it, not always consciously, but structurally. He organizes his life so that the real test keeps getting postponed. And the longer it is postponed, the more he needs it not to come. Because the gap between his self-image and his actual experience of being tested grows wider every year. Seneca said that the greatest obstacle to living is expectancy. The habit of waiting for conditions to improve before committing fully to anything. The untested man lives in that expectancy. He will be ready when things stabilize. He will commit when the situation is clearer. He will show what he is made of when the moment is more obviously the right one. The Stoics had no patience for this. Not because they were harsh, but because they understood where it leads. It leads to a man who reaches the end of his life having carefully avoided every situation that would have told him who he was. The test is not something to survive. It is something to seek. Not recklessly. Not by manufacturing drama or choosing unnecessary pain. But by stopping the habit of routing around difficulty. By letting the hard conversation happen. By taking on the responsibility that frightens you. By staying in the situation long enough for it to ask something real of you. That is where you meet yourself. And whatever you find there, the Stoics would say, is something worth knowing.